Yeah, welcome to Lausitzring. Welcome to the press conference, DTM Race 1 here. What a race, what a day. We have our 3 winning drivers here. Race winner, Kelvin van der Linde, Abt Audi. Second place, our reigning DTM champion, Thomas Preining, Manthey Porsche. And third place, oh, sorry, I got it. I got it wrong.
We're in the wrong place, that's why.
You're in the wrong place, so make it difficult for me. So
as long as I can keep the points for second, it's okay.
Yeah, and the ballast will be free.
Yeah.
And we have Maro Engel here for Windward Mercedes-Benz, Mercedes AMG. So to get it right. So starting with you, Kelvin, congrats. There was a race which really had everything, rain, shine, red flags. So how was that race for you? It must be mentally quite exhausting.
Yeah, it was definitely. I think for everyone it was, to be honest. I was lucky I had very clear track in front, so I could just focus on my driving, managing a gap. I remember yesterday in the FP2 I was in the pack, and it was so difficult to spot your braking point. You couldn't like really commit to anything because there was so much spray on track, and I can imagine it was the same for the guys behind me today. So I knew it was an advantage and just tried to play it out, and the car was good. We gambled a bit in the pit stop about tire pressures. I think it's always a bit of a gamble. What do you take? It's a new wet tire. So I was a bit, nervous. Did we make the right decision or not? But in the end, it looked like it was quite okay. And yeah, just happy to take the points, take a solid day away, pole position, and now this. So just really happy with how everything went this weekend so far.
You were not the first mover during the pit stop. So how was the communication with your pit and with your engineer about the right call to change tires?
I think we were in quite a good position because we had a small gap tomorrow. So I said to the guys we should wait and see what tires the other cars put on. When you're in that position, you can always react because you have a small buffer. So it was on the limit of going to slicks, and we didn't want to take the risk in that position. So to come in really late was probably the right call. We knew we wouldn't lose too much if everybody went to wet tires. But if someone went to slicks, or we saw a couple of guys putting slicks, we could always react. So that was just the thinking about it, just to take as little risk as possible in that situation. I think it worked out.
How difficult was it at the restart? So at the end, you had to start 3 times today?
Yeah, like I said, I think it was just an advantage because I had clear air and I didn't have any spray in front of me. So that's the best situation you can have in these cars. In general, in any motorsport series, there's so much spray nowadays. So you really lose a lot of lap time if you're stuck behind someone. And especially like this track now, there's not many different lines you can use. So to overtake in the wet is also difficult unless you're really a lot quicker. So just use all the positives we had today and try to just bring it home without any mistakes. I was in the gravel a couple of times in FP2 yesterday, trying to brake a bit too late and so on. And today I held a bit of margin. I didn't want to do anything crazy today and drive on the absolute limit. And it was enough. So I'm really happy.
We have a new generation of Pirelli wet tires this year in DTM. So there was a real proof for the tires today. So how did they perform?
I think the first, I was saying tomorrow actually, the first impression is quite good. We drove pretty much in dry conditions at the end with a wet tire and didn't look like it was struggling. I mean, I remember the old tire, it was always in those conditions very tricky with tire pressure. It was like kind of a lottery, like if you went for the wrong tire pressure, you could be 3 seconds off the pace sometimes. And it looks like the new one has a much bigger window which you can work with. So I think it's probably better for the racing. You have less of a lottery when you go to wet tires, and I think for the driver that's always nice. So regarding aquaplaning, I mean, yes, I think any wet weather tire would have aquaplaned today in those conditions, but everything else was very positive. Yeah.
How bad was the aquaplaning before the red flag was called? So how much water was really on track?
I was crazy. I mean, there were times behind the safety car at like 80 kph where I felt the car was not 100% fixed to the ground. So I think all the drivers were pretty much saying on the radio that it was the right call to go red. I think only Maro was the one calling for green because he was flying in those conditions. No, I mean, I was obviously pushing for red. In my scenario, I could only lose, so I was yeah, happy that they stopped the race. And I think in the end it was the safest and best decision.
Okay, thank you, Calvin. So Mauro, then having it in the right order now. Congrats, you had a really fantastic race, and I think you must be the most improved driver today in those really difficult conditions. So tell us a little bit, how did you do that magic today?
Yeah, obviously a strong result and a good result for us. We're happy with that. Congrats to Calvin. He was the quickest man today, so he deserves to win. There was no real way to challenge him. And yeah, just to complete that, no, I was also asking for the red flag because it was, like you said, it's a 80 kph aquaplaning, so I think it was spot on, the decisions of race control. For us, I have to say a big thank you to my team. It was the right strategy. I had a terrible first lap. I think I was last, and then obviously we pitted on the right lap on the slicks in the wet. I made a few positions, which I think was quite important, and then we had a smooth, good pit stop and came out basically in P3, and I was able to move up to P2 before the red flag. So that was, I think, the key to our race. And then I think we had a really good car, but as mentioned, just not quick enough to challenge Kelvin.
So who made that call to or decided the moment to change for tires?
My engineer. So full credit goes to him. He's the one who secured us this result because it was spot on the right time. And I was hesitating to go another lap, and he said, "No, man, we're pitting this lap," and it was spot on.
Okay. You drove worldwide in different kinds of rain, so quite experienced to any conditions. So how was it then during today's race?
I mean, we know the Lausitzring, when it rains, it doesn't evacuate the water so well, so we know that. And then on top of that, it really rained very, very strong. So big drops and yeah, I mean the whole tarmac was just shimmering and reflecting. There was nowhere you could see the ground anymore. And like I said, just the right decision both times from race control to go red.
You said you couldn't challenge Kelvin at the front, but how was the position, or how was it in the mirror with Thomas?
I mean, with Kelvin, maybe the first three corners I had half a chance, but after that he was just making a gap, and then there was no real chance. And to the back, it was relatively safe as well. The gap to the rear was building at the beginning to Nicky, and I think after the pit stop, we obviously had to wait a little bit at the pit stop because Ricardo came past just as we were finished, so lost a little bit of time there. But I mean, I don't think it made a difference to our race results, and yeah, it was just about managing the tires to the end and bringing to P2 home.
Thank you, Mauro. Then coming to P3, to Thomas, congrats. So after a weekend and start of the season to forget at Oschersleben, finally back on the podium in round 3. So you must quite be happy with today's race.
Yeah, it's good to be back at the press conference. You need to earn your place here. It's a good sign. And in general, yeah, as they mentioned, extremely difficult race. Very, very tricky conditions, difficult not to make any mistakes, both in terms of driving and also strategy, with all the pit stop madness with the weather. So all in all, we took the safe option everywhere. We needed, to get some decent points at least today. So we never really took much risk, but also we couldn't really have, no matter how much risk we would have taken, we couldn't really have finished any further ahead, I believe. We didn't have the pace. So I think this was the maximum. I think we did everything correct. Very good day. Very difficult, so it's even more rewarding to obviously get the podium and 16 points. Big thank you to the team. I think in the pits we were again the fastest, or one of the fastest. So everything, in my opinion, is going in a good direction, and we just need to connect it and keep going in that direction.
So we have to speak about general pace of you and also of chances this weekend here. So you lacked some pace at Oschersleben at the start of the season, but you were quickest yesterday in both conditions. Were really competitive in qualifying. So what brought you back to the top here at Lausitzring?
It's a combination of many things, to be honest. Obviously, before Oschersleben, there were parameters that were a bit of a surprise. We didn't really know how to react to that, and then obviously last week we had a test here. We had the opportunity to try to improve the car and to try to get back to a similar level as where we've been before, and obviously it kind of worked. Definitely on the dry we're in a good place. On the wet the tire is new to us like to everybody else. They did a better job, so we need to investigate how we can improve a little bit there. It's not like we're missing 2 seconds a lap, but it's definitely still some room for improvement. But full confidence in the team. We will be solid there as well very soon.
Okay, thank you. Then I guess we have some questions from the floor, starting with Sven.
Yeah, congratulations to you guys. A question for Maro. I think you had also a very exciting start of the race. I saw you back in P19. Maybe you can talk us through the first lap, what happened there?
Yeah, it was the usual tight mess in turn 1 and 2, and I think I had to avoid a car going into turn 2, so I had to cut a bit into the sand and just got caught out when I turned into turn 3, and when I got turned into turn 4, I just completely lost the car and went straight on through the gravel. So in the end, my mistake got caught out with the dirty tire, and at that point I thought, okay, it better rain soon because the race is going to be very difficult from back here. And obviously, yeah, when I saw the drops coming, I saw there was an opportunity, and yeah, the rest worked out really well.
Did you think that the race maybe was already over in that first lap, or was it not so bad?
No, I mean, I took it as a challenge. I knew there would be opportunities if the rain comes, and sure enough, it did come.
Question to all three of you: have those conditions today been one of the worst that you experienced by now, and were on the track? Were the conditions the worst? Was it the start-finish straight, or was it turn 8? I think there was also a big place of water.
I think all three of us race on the Nordschleife, so...
Yeah, I was about to say, mate, come watch us next week.
You know, it's
Good
once
practice.
you race there, it's you see things that you see nowhere else. But yes, it was pretty bad.
Yeah, nothing to add. I think it's a nice warm-up for next weekend, to be honest. So I think all of us will be at the Green Hell next week, and I haven't looked at the weather yet, but I'm pretty sure there will be rain somewhere at some point. So yeah, it was a good one. Yeah.
Fully agree. Definitely tricky conditions, but nothing we haven't seen before in the Eifel.
Any further questions? No further questions, and thank you. Then enjoy the rest of your evening. It was a long day for everybody, and hopefully see you back tomorrow. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Cheers.